Forsy, Andrew Forsyth-Thompson, half Greek, half South African.
Yeah, bit of everything.
Matcha superstar,
I don't know about
entrepreneur, thoroughbred, Durban born and bred, right? Tell us.
Joburg born,
Okay.
but schooled in Durbs.
Dude, you've
Natal.
created a really cool brand, and I've listened and I've done some research, and I'm interested to share some of your story and to take little bits of it and package it for the next guy or girl who's going to create their brand and community. You've done such an amazing job doing that, and I think part of the reason why is because you're so damn authentic and you're super chilled, and like that speaks to who you are as a human. Tell us about Andrew.
Cool. Thanks for having me, Murray. It's a huge privilege to be here, and especially coming from someone like you who's built something so amazing. You probably think, you use the word superstar, you probably think a bit too highly of me. So you'll hear the names Andrew and Andreas like used interchangeably. So I'm half Greek, or Cypriot Greek, and I was born in Joburg. Went to day school there, then went to high school in Natal. A real family person. So we grew up quite a tight-knit family, and I think anyone who wants to know anything about me, the most important thing is my faith. So I'm quite a strong Christian, and my faith is sort of centered to everything I do. It's not to say that I'm the example or anything, but it's definitely the compass and the meaning for my life. I finished up at school in Natal, went to do a gap year in the UK, where my job was putting the paper in the printer. I was very good at my job. And then went to study at Staley's, did an undergrad in commerce, and then did my honors at UCT in financial analysis, and then broke into the working world. So that's it.
Corporate finance and Matcha are two of the most far apart things in the world, but you brought them together. I see you talk corporate finance at night and Matcha by day.
Yeah.
How do you find managing sort of the different personalities? Because you obviously have a personality to build brands and great businesses from what I've seen, but you also have that like corporate finance background.
Yeah, so the two are really polar opposites, I think, from optically speaking. But, I think it was one of the reasons why I sort of left corporates is I do love people. I was dubbed the golden retriever of the office. And I think finance, not all finance gigs, but a lot of them are like notoriously, but political and cutthroat. I'm sure not the only industry that's like that. And I just didn't feel myself like naturally fitting into that. And however, like corporate finance and any side of investing, there's a massive people element to it, and that's what I was just drawn to most. But I think with any startup, there's a lot of those risks. So when I left corporate, I've got set up a little like financial consulting business, and I'm still in the like a phase where I don't know if my business is going to continue or entirely collapse. So I kind of balance the two, and whisk by day and then build financial models in the evening.
Yeah, I hear you, man. So outside of identifying as a half Greek mongrel, as you did, do you identify as an entrepreneur? Because I want to ask this because people look at people like yourself and other entrepreneurs who are in the process of becoming successful, and I would regard you as successful, and they think he's just like this natural born entrepreneur who just has his shit figured out. And the reality is life is not that crystal clear. Was there a moment in your life where you said, shit, this is who I am?
Yeah, not really. Hey, like it's weird, like hearing me being described as an entrepreneur. Like I was never that guy that read business books or like read long LinkedIn posts or wrote them myself. I think it's just I think naturally I like to solve problems. And I've just, not only in terms of my career, just in life, like I think I've just thought a bit differently. Like I've never been like a template thinker, and maybe I could assume that the two kind of coincided. Business is, as you'll know, Mary, is a lot of problem solving, and but I mean, I'm not. This is not some pseudo sense of humility, but like, there's nothing special about me. I think I really am the product of God's grace, and Nice to Matcha was a story of several miracles following each other, and I just believe I'm someone who's stewarding it for while it's here, which I don't know how long it will be, and that for me is enough. The aspiration is not to be seen as some entrepreneur or whatever. Like I just go to Nando's and PlayStation. And
Talk me through the miracles.
yeah, so it's a funny story. I mean, I'll try to condense it. But I was in Germany for work last year, and I'd never had a matcha before. This is last year, May, June, so a little over 14 months ago. And a friend of mine is big into the food scene, and he was like, well, brew, you got to, he didn't say brew, he's German, but you got to try out this thing called matcha. And I was like, no, that's not me at all. I'm like a big coffee drinker. So he took me to the store, just randomly. It happened to be, where we were walking in Eppendorf, which is a suburb in Hamburg. And like I walked into the store, and my mind like just blew. Like I couldn't believe that people were lining up. I just love the simplicity of the business. There was no eureka moment, but I just was fascinated by the demand for this. And I went back, and I remember messaging my brothers right away, and
This is it.
I was like, guys, like I think this is worth exploring. And I came back, and it just like finding the right supplier. I paid someone 1,500 rand to do our branding. I thought of the name. That person I've worked with her since. She's absolutely phenomenal. Andy, who's like my little sister, she had been in food her whole life, fell in love with the product. I then fell in love with the product. We didn't have a location. I used 20,000 rand to start this business. The location we had is quite well known. We were just told, hey, this is open. Like, would you want to come and just give your business a try? It's underneath the Movement Lab. I didn't even know what the Movement Lab was. Turns out it's a very popular Pilates studio. Turns out Pilates and matcha just go hand in hand.
Not fried chicken, because it was a fried chicken store.
It was a fried chicken store, and I'm a big chicken.
And I've been there.
So
So I've been to your store.
Well, I was very torn about this, because I'm team chicken. So I don't know, but it's just really, and like we have not spent 1 cent on Instagram. We still, to this day, we really emphasize the product. Like I wanted to get like the best of the best. I feel like a lot of businesses can use social media to prop themselves up. I'm not against social media. It's a fantastic use, but we were like, let's focus on the product and the customer experience, and just all the pieces we needed to execute on that just fell into place seamlessly. And I'm giving a very like brief synopsis, but yeah, we just found ourselves with our minds blown day one.
So you've built an exceptional brand around focusing on simplicity and around the product and the customer experience. So first step, product, customer experience. Next step, community. Talk me through like your process. And
yeah, so it's a good question. So yeah, nail on the head. Like we focus on product, we focus on the experience. Like if you come to our bar, you'll see that you can watch everything being made, and we emphasize the pour being done in front of you. So, if we've sold 80,000 matchas, I think 60,000 of those have been filmed, and that's in 10 months. And because
60,000
of those have been filmed.
No way.
Yeah, and like 40 to 50,000 of those would have been like posted on TikTok or Instagram. If you go on our Instagram, you'll just see stories like every day. Because my hypothesis was that like the younger generations, like millennials and Gen Zs, like they don't just want a finished product. They love to see the journey. And we didn't try too hard to tell the story, but we just wanted it to be a part of our brand, which then tied into this community aspect. So like we didn't force to create a community. Like I think Matcha has this like kind of basic white girl demure. I'm probably in trouble for saying that. And like, I'm not that guy at all.
Yes.
Like I grew up like going to Soweto to watch. I'm a huge Pirates fan, by the way.
Got you.
So
And a Messi fan.
and a huge Messi fan, really. Don't get me started. But like I was like, no, like we want to create a vibe, you know, it's who we are. So we just came in like playing piano, like we were so big on our customers, you know, every morning before we open, we pray. And we've got a huge opportunity to love our customers, you know, and really be a light. And we want that to be as authentic as possible, because I think the focus of Nice to Much is I don't want, if people in 5 years time say like, they had a really good matcha, like I feel like I've kind of failed as a business.
Yeah.
But if people in 5 years time say, yes, I used to walk into that store and like I just love those guys and they just loved me, and we have that every day. Like people come in their hundreds and they'll just sit and talk to us and tell us their stories, and we really try to focus on that, not trying to build a community. It kind of built itself.
Exactly.
You know, and we've come out with like a lot of friends, a lot of great stories, like people who've shared their tough times and good times with us, and that's a huge privilege.
Because it's a small space. So how much, when people are telling you about their stories, like how does that, is that interaction, is it trained? Like your team, I think you've got a team of 4 or 5, and a sort of greater team of 10 people.
Yes.
Is it something that you train yourself as the founder or co-founder, or is it something that just happens naturally by setting guiding principles that you want to live by?
Absolutely. So I think the first step is hiring good people. You know, and like you can tell really quickly, I'm sure you've seen in your business, where people fit into your ethos or not.
Or not, yeah.
Once someone fits into like the ethos and it's generally the attitude, then it's principles, you know.
How do you make a judgment call on
Yeah,
that?
it's super difficult, and like haven't always got it right. I wish I could tell you that, you know, I've got this unreal intuition when I look at someone, but I haven't, you know, and you know, I'm not to say that someone needs to be spot on, because, you know, we've got in our companies people from all walks of life, you know, and young, old, and I'm no respecter of persons in that sense. Like the lead in the bar is a 19-year-old girl,
Awesome.
and she's a weapon. She's absolutely phenomenal, and she's
Seriously.
the youngest, but she leads because she's the best, you know. So, but I think you can see general indicators like, I'm a simple man, so arrive a bit early, like, you know, those sorts of outlooks and attitudes, I think, go a long way. And if someone can do the basics right, they generally will show care for the bigger things.
That. So by design, then, it wasn't thinking about, because this is where I think brands often go wrong, and they start by worrying about logo designs and what social media looks like, and product and culture, and like everything that you exude as a human being almost becomes secondary. So it's more around worrying about what people think and less around what matters most.
Yeah.
And that is an observation that I've seen in most successful businesses and brands, is that they just live it every single day.
Yeah.
And by virtue of doing that, they end up becoming, you know, this cool brand in Seapoint or whatever it might be. So that's like, just for anyone out there, my recommendation all the time is just be real, be authentic, be the simple, like cool guy that you are, and just live it every day. And I think everything will come after that, from what I'm seeing. Then there's this like push-pull space where you've been successful in store one. You rewind 2 years ago, you actually had no clue what you were going to do, but you have all this corporate finance experience. Then luck or whatever might have it has brought you to build this exceptionally cool brand that's also been financially successful. And I know everything is a work in progress in all startups. I speak from experience there. What does the future look like as you sort of like think about next stores, growth, sustainability? What does that look like for you?
I mean, we're still figuring that out, you know. People often come talk to me about strategy. I don't have a strategy document at all. I think the nice thing about the fact that, you know, when you don't have investors, I'm not against investors and stuff, but you can kind of your thumbprints on the business. So the strategy is kind of you as a person. Obviously you got to be careful there. You don't chase every bus in town, but what we are doing is we're launching an e-commerce store. So we want to go online. We definitely want to look beyond the borders of South Africa. So we've worked very hard on that product. We think there's a big gap there, both locally and internationally.
It's doing the same thing.
So that would be selling the powder, selling matcha sets,
Got you.
you know,
Awesome.
and then upselling in apparel and things like that. So that's actually launching beginning first, second week of October.
Awesome.
So we're very excited about that, and we've put a lot of work into that. In terms of stores, very tricky. We've been very blessed to have a lot of offers to open up all over the country. And the first thing is the operation we run is very difficult. Like every morning, either myself or Andy are up at about 5:30 getting stock. We don't have delivery or trucks. I've got my Polo 1.2 TSI. It's got a turbo.
So at least you're saving money.
Yeah, exactly. And I put stock in the back of my car and we drive and we open up. There's nothing fancy, but the operation, you know, if you're doing 30 to 40 matches a day, cool. But if you're doing 400 to 500, very, very difficult. You know, I'm very meticulous. I measure everything. I'm huge on quality control and stuff. And to try and do number 2 is not impossible, but very, very difficult. So your location is everything. It's not everything.
I was going to ask you that.
It's very, very important. I think when you're starting out, it's more important. And then as you grow, probably it's not that it's not important, but maybe not as significant. But yeah, I mean, we are really like sticklers on getting the second store in the right location, and whether that's in South Africa or whether it's in another country, we're not sure yet. We're in discussions at this moment, but yeah, I mean, again, I know I'm not trying to preach here, but like it's something we've just laid at the Lord's feet.
Yeah.
And we're happy with, you know, I always tell people my cup's full. So even if this had to close down, like I've had so much fun in the
doing it as a life experience.
You know, I'll sell chips next.
So you feel like e-commerce is something, because you're a details guy and you want to get product right. So you feel like e-commerce is easier then to deliver that consistent experience than replicating store 2 to 100.
Yeah, absolutely. And e-commerce is a form of, you can scale easily, right? And I think at the moment, we're in a nice space and that there's sort of an exclusivity about us just being in Cape Town. So I think we've had hundreds of DMs saying, where can I buy your powder? Where can I buy your powder?
Okay, so you're following the customer.
Yeah, so the customers have told us, you know, and we've, you know, like almost every day, we have 2-3 customers saying, can I buy your powder? Can I buy your powder? So we want to take this nice to matcha experience into your kitchen. Obviously, we won't bring the flavors with it, but you've got the powder, you've got the set to make it.
Awesome.
You know, and we see that as a nice opportunity to bring a bit of scale to the business, you know.
I want to double click into that word exclusivity and specifically around the process of brand building. And you speak about, in another podcast that I listen about, whiteboarding and about putting words up on a whiteboard that are important for you in the process of like answering questions, really.
Yeah.
Talk me through your process in building Nice to Matcha as a brand, and generally how you use whiteboarding and other processes to try to help guide decisions that you make.
Yeah, so I mean, we've got a very simple, and I'm sure some people will laugh at this process, but everything I think you experience, you buy, or every service you encounter gives you a feeling. Like, you know, if you go into a fine dining restaurant, there's a feeling that comes with that. You know, if you see a beautifully presented plate, there's a feeling. If you walk into a hotel room, there's a feeling that's given. So what we try to do is, before we embark on anything, so we just released a new drink now, right? It's an Earl Grey and lavender matcha. And before we do anything, we will jump on a whiteboard and say, cool, like what is a few words that we want this product or service to hit. And we define that at step 1, because then any decision we make, we've got a yardstick for saying like, okay, cool, like we want this to give an elegant feel, okay, or classy feel or premium feel. Does this product or does this like, is the logo too big? Is it too small? What do brands do like that give off a classy feel? And then we're always measuring, and it's such a, because as you'll know, when you're doing product or service, you go down a lot of decisions, and you can kind of, I found for myself at least lose, the foundation for the decision, or the foundation falls apart. So we very like early on determine, okay, these are 5 to 7 words, and then every decision we're making, we come back saying, is that exclusive though? Is that classy? It's not classy. Let's scratch it off.
Got you.
And everyone agrees on the parameters from the start, so that you're making the decision. If you've got a team, it streamlines things a bit.
I hear you.
So
Love that, man. That's very cool.
yeah.
I think we often just get like carried away. We can get caught up in so much noise, and finance is obviously such a big thing.
Yeah.
Trying to like hit specific metrics, and
Yeah.
I think sometimes simple done well is best. List things on a whiteboard and make sure that you're leaning into what's important.
Right.
Did you use that method to start Nice to Match as a brand, or was that just more organic?
No, it was we've refined it, but it was definitely the feel. It was definitely in the thought process of, as we were going through the branding, and so for instance, like the pour in front of you, like we wanted it to be, for lack of a better phrase, Instagrammable. We wanted it to be aesthetically pleasing, and like we just knew that pouring that and watching that green seep through was just a classy feel, and that's why we positioned that's why we put our logo on the cup as well as it is, because you can't see the logo when the cup's empty, but as soon as it fills up and it gets pours in, then it seeps through. It gives a feeling, and
that was by design, right?
that was by design.
Okay.
And
How much of the physical store did you change?
nothing.
Seriously.
Like, again, our colors are white, pink, a bit of green, and a bit of navy. We walked into the store, the tiles are white and pastel pink, our colors. They've got 2 windows there. It's an order and
I love that so much, because there's like this cool coffee shop syndrome in Cape Town, basically, where before you start, you need to spend like 3 million rand on the fit out. And these like soft brand notes and the feeling that you speak about is so undervalued, and so much more important necessarily than what a space looks like.
Yeah.
The way staff interact, everything you're just describing, all of those small little details are worth more than any like design capex you can put in.
I couldn't agree more. I'm not going to say the aesthetic doesn't matter.
Yeah, for sure. I understand.
But even if we had to move stores, and maybe we will one day, like, people don't come to the store and they're like, oh, nice tiles. They come and they're like, oh, hey, Mafaro, like, and Mafaro remembers that person's name, or hey, Amida, or hey, Andy, or hey, Andres. And like, I know what school they go to. I know, they just wrote their science exam, or I know they've just done a Pilates class upstairs. And like, it's that, yeah, like, I think that the word is authentic, I'm very hesitant to like say authentic, and because obviously we're talking try to be
real.
Yeah, but like we getting to the place where hopefully, irrespective of where we are, and what our store looks like, people still get that engagement. I think it's like Chick-fil-A in America.
I was going to ask, have you done any hospitality training or reading on like any brands that inspire you that you've looked at globally that have helped inform what you've created at Nice to Match?
No. I've absolutely, my books are either read books of theology, economics, or sports biographies. I'm now currently reading Russian literature, Dostoevsky, and Crime and Punishment. Like, you're talking about the metaphysical. I have absolutely.
The hospitality influences come from somewhere though. Maybe it's your mom. Like, where's it come from?
I don't know.
Maybe it's in Greek culture.
I don't know. Like, I know it sounds cliche. I just love people. Like, I've always been like this since I was a child. Like, whenever we would go to a restaurant, I would wander to the back, where talk to the cooks or whatever. I was far more interested in that. Like, and maybe I think it's also maybe a product of my faith. I find the closer I get to God, the more like I love people. I don't, definitely not getting it right all the time. And not get it wrong, but and I think people, there are a lot of brands talk, oh, we love our customers and love people, but yeah, I think you can very quickly feel it when you walk into a space, you know. Like there was even a video made about how like our staff will like greet and say, "Hey, how are you?" and whatever, but it's great.
That's seriously like, as in it's overdone, or
No, just like it's just funny because I think the video is around like Cape Town's like quite. I'd say compared to, I'm probably in trouble for saying this, but it's not the friendliest place. Like it's known for being a little bit cliquey, you know,
and you changing that.
and we just like, you know, we didn't want that, you know. If you come to our store, yeah, we playing piano, we flipping, we'll dance.
Is there like a legit piano in the?
No. So piano is a type. It's called piano. It's a type of music.
Sorry, man.
So it's like super popular in South Africa and the rest of the world. It started in Johannesburg, and it's got like a huge vibe to it. I'm sure there are people in the street who do that.
You read
theology. See, there you go. And bailo,
exactly.
So yeah, so like we wanted that. We wanted that vibe, and I think people resonated with it, you know.
I love it, man. That's so cool. Execution is a word I've heard you say before. And when you're thinking about starting a business, like we get analysis paralysis, we worry about what people think. And that word for me means more than most. And I wanted to just see how important that is to your personality. You're obviously just someone who's a doer.
Yeah, so I try to be, you know, and I think in life it's very simple. There's those who talk and then those who do. And to be honest, when I started this business, there was a massive, the biggest part that was holding me back was my pride. And it's one of the reasons why I didn't push on Instagram, because I was, like, I hate to admit this, but I was terrified of it failing. And I didn't want the shame of like, oh, I tried something and failed. But you've probably seen this, like once you try something and either it works or not, like you break that fear boundary very quickly. And you know, whatever we do, like I think trying, I mean, what I'm saying now is not profound at all, but I think just doing something is 99.999% of, you know, the success. You know, and circling back to what you said, like what, I think that's a key question. Whenever someone comes and talks to me now about whatever, whether it's business or studies, like or life, I ask them, the first question I ask them is, well, how do you define success? How do you define it? You know, is success making R1 million? Like, okay, you've defined it. I mean, I have a different definition.
What's yours?
I don't think, for me, success in life is not building a successful business. Like please God, one day I can, first and foremost is to be a man of God and honor him with my life. And second would be to be a good husband and a father one day.
Got you.
Which I need a lot of prayer for out there, people.
Listen, it worked out with your business, man. You just
I need God to part the seas there, you know. So that for me is success. You know, and I think in business, success would be to, again, it's not to make R1 billion. It's not, I think that is, I don't know. I mean, I know people that have made R1 billion, and I don't see them any richer or for it. I think I know money can be used to do great things. I'm not taking away the importance of money, but I think, I think the feeling you can give to your customers and like how you can impact their lives, as well as the people in your business as well, your staff, your team, you know, do they come and walk away and be like, geez, for me, like we had a staff member who left, he's gone to go study in China. He was my first person I hired, and he was like my little brother. And like he sent me a message the other day. We had a farewell for him. We always go to a different restaurant every month, like to say goodbye and stuff. And he was just like, he sent this message about how like it's just changed his life and how his team are like his best mates. And I was like, for me, that's worth selling 10,000 matchas and more. You know, that for me like is more something I would write down first before I said, oh, we made this, because
I think being that guiding light, you mentioned that in the beginning, is like, for me, in a way, such a cool definition of success. And it's more in the action of being a guiding light and less in the destination of trying to become something. And I think that for me is real and like authentic, as the word authentic goes. Yeah. What else? I mean, always say like we're here for such a short time. We're tenants on this earth. We have a responsibility to do good. And when I think about our own business
Yeah.
and that word good,
Yeah.
and how do you become this guiding light where you when you invest into buildings through your people who interact with guests and that like light that you share. That for me is like a really cool definition
Yeah.
of success. I think you're living it every day anyway.
Yeah. And I think also like success has to be something that's not temporary. Like your business is temporary, right?
Yes.
Because if it's something that's linked to anything that's temporary, are you not, is your success just like up and down? I think first principles here, like it's not a really wise way
Yeah.
to define success. And you wonder why, like, we just live in cultures it is really up and down because I think everything,
Completely.
including myself, that we attach ourselves to or go after. I'm not excluded from this. I do it too in
Yeah.
many different ways,
Yeah.
are things that are temporary and up and down. And I think like a big thing that's helped us in this business is like we haven't lost our joy in what we do.
No, but
We are. I mean, it sounds ridiculous. It sounds like you've gone to Happy Clapper Church, and now I hated my work for 8 years.
Yeah.
There was maybe 1 or 2 mornings out of hundreds that I woke up and I was like pumped. Like we wake up almost every single morning. We're like, this is so sick. Like, how blessed are we? How cool. And for me, again, cup is full.
That's so cool.
Full.
Amazing. Anything you would have done differently?
Oh, yes. I would certainly get better. I'm not. I've got many weak points.
We all do.
Yeah. Probably get better at delegating.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the founder's dilemma, man.
Yeah, man.
Not mine specifically, my co-founder, Kim, who's also my partner.
Yes.
And actually my other co-founder as well. Both of them struggle with delegation because
Yeah.
they're perfectionists.
Yeah, exactly. And
But you're a perfectionist, right?
yes. Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah. I think also just a lesson I've had to learn is like, your limits in your lane. Like I'm not really naturally a creative. Like in some aspects I can be, but if we're shooting videos and stuff, I think it's hard because you feel like it's your baby and no one knows best. And like, yeah, I've definitely shot myself in the foot there.
But don't you think that's what makes you good, though?
I don't know.
Like your level of detail.
Yeah, maybe. Hey, maybe it's probably a give and take. And then I think lastly, because I am half Greek, so we've got the passion and the fire. You know what I mean? Like my mom used to throw anything she could get her hands at.
At you.
Thank God she wasn't gifted with cohorts. So she missed most of them. But I think it's just to never ever react emotionally.
Got you.
The worst decisions I've made 10 out of 10 times have almost entirely been emotional ones. And I would tell myself very early on, like, sleep on it, like just take shower, have some Nando's, sleep.
Watch your sock again.
Yeah,
It's difficult because you're such a passionate guy. So it's
Yeah.
almost like being able to leverage. And I have the same problem. When you are as passionate as we are at doing what we do, your emotion and your like passion for what you're doing is your biggest strength, but it can also be a big weakness.
Sure.
You can't control it.
Sure. Yeah.
Andres, dude, I wish you nothing but the best. Continue to be the guiding light that you are. Hopefully not just in Sea Point, but across the rest of Cape Town and the rest of the world. We're proud of you and we just want your success. Keep bringing joy to wherever you go. And
same to you, man.
thank you, man.
You know how many
Appreciate
people
it.
you guys have influenced, and I've followed your story
Appreciate
for
it.
years, and it's incredible what you guys have done.
Thank you, man.
And talk about someone who's gone international. So yeah, I think it's straight back at you. And I would say to you and your team, I don't think you realize the influence you're having on many people out there who want to step out and do something, and take that leap. because I know a bit about your story. It wasn't
Man, let's
easy.
take Nice to Matcha with us to San Francisco and we'll make it happen.
Let's do it, bro. I'm mad enough to do it as well.
Awesome. Great to have you on the
Cool.
podcast.
Thank you very much.